Okay, so when you were a projectionist and someone would say, hey, there's a fly on the lens that everybody can see and is clearly distracting the hell out of everyone, what do you say?
Well, if you reach up, you block the picture more than the fly. But the fly's just going to keep coming back. I mean, it's like the fly is going towards the light. There's nothing you can really do. You just have to hope the fly gets bored, it goes away.
I'm sure, like, the guys at Landmark or whatever have, like, a disinfectant spray bottle that they could at least
But then the lens
something.
all gets dirty, and then you can't see the picture, and they have to pause the movie.
Well, it would beat the hell out of seeing absolutely nothing.
Flies are something I don't know how to... We never really had a
Like,
good
I think we can
protocol
both
for flies.
agree that was, like, one of the lesser aspects of having to sit through this movie.
The fly was like, I thought it was part of the cinematography for a little bit, and I was like, oh, there's a fly in this creative lens shot.
There were insects in the background half the time.
I thought it was part
anyways.
of it. But then when you saw the shot of the girl in the spaceship, I'm like, that's a fly on the lens.
It was really... I want to say it was really fucking annoying, but then again, I dropped my fucking slice of pizza before the trailers even started, which...
But you had your popcorn. We're okay.
I did have my popcorn, and as per usual, I fucking demolished it to the point where I'm probably going to regret it tomorrow.
Oh. Does it like hurt you inside or something? Or like...
I mean, you eat that much over the course of an hour or so, you're bound to
You're a pretty corny person sometimes.
Don't get started on that. So we went and saw 65, a movie that is not being advertised all that well, to the point where even you had no idea.
I had no clue what this was. You're like, hey, I was like, hey, Tyler, do you want to see Scream 6? And he's like, no. He's like, I want to see the 65 movie. I'm like, okay. And I looked it up. It's like sci-fi. Well, and that was all I knew.
I thought you were gonna say, "Oh, gee, shocker," because 65 is written and directed by Scott Beck and Brian Woods, the writers of A Quiet Place. And if you're
that's why we went.
And if you're a long-time viewer, you know that is one of my all-time favorite movies, my favorite movie of 2018. So when I found out that these guys got the opportunity to make a movie with Sam Raimi of all people as their producer. And a very super simple premise that also has a couple hidden layers and some complex details that I did not expect going in. So for those who don't know, which is almost everybody, Adam Driver is this space pilot whose plane crash lands on Earth. But the twist is, it's 65 million years ago on Earth. And I'm not going to spoil why, because the initial explanation that I had in my head was not it. Like, they gave you a completely different explanation as to how that came to be, and it was actually pretty clever. It was something that you don't really get with sci-fi movies like this.
Yeah, we're talking non-spoilers, right? First?
Exactly, but I think you and I can agree, like, that was unexpected.
Yeah, I think the way they set up the movie was very heartwarming, and then Adam Driver, as soon as he came on screen, I was like, I like that guy.
Really? I figured just because of Kylo Ren that you would give him
here's the thing. But Adam Driver, like, he's really good in Silence. I liked him in the
He
last
wasn't
Duel.
in Silence that much.
But, like, every time he's on screen, he really sells it, depending on the movie. Like, he is definitely the highlight of the Star Wars trilogy, for sure. Because Daisy Ridley's not bad by any means, and John Boyega's fine. They're not given a lot to work with, but Adam Driver, he gives it his all, no matter what he does. So he is a solid actor. And the fact that this movie had maybe 10 lines of dialogue, and he had to act completely, it's like, yes, he's good.
That was probably the main thing that I had in anticipation going forward, because, I mean, it's just two survivors venturing through Pangea, and that's really just about it. Like, there are dinosaurs, and, again, without spoiling why, they've crash-landed at the very point that the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs is about to crash into Earth. So there is a lot going for them. They have everything to lose. And what I wasn't expecting was how strong the relationship was going to be between the pilot and the survivor. This 9-year-old girl named Koa who speaks in a language that is never explained, and to be honest, in real life I couldn't even picture any words, so I have no idea.
His translator was broken.
Yeah, I have no idea if it was like a real language or if it was one that was made up. Based on the fact that so many scenes do go by without dialogue, it really could be up to interpretation. There are so many details that imply it's an invented language because the writing and the symbols for words, they were all different. They were kind of circles and squares.
Looked like
in a
almost like the
sense.
Star Wars language for credits, really.
Kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it looked like the old Republic like writing and such that you'd see in the Jedi archives or on the.
And it's strange.
stuff.
Like, I wasn't expecting the world building to be so quiet and just show the details so that you can fill it in for yourself. Throughout the entire thing, Adam Driver has this multitask pathfinder that literally provides holographic evidence that is super. I don't want to say inventive because I feel like some other sci-fi movies have done this. In fact, the technology in this you can pinpoint to just about everything. The laser guns, the ball-shaped grenades, just about everything.
I'm gonna be honest. Have you ever played Turok?
I have not. No.
Okay, so this is pretty much the guns and the technology all look like Turok.
Yeah.
Turok Dinosaur Hunter. I love the franchise, but a lot of the weapons and that little scanning device reminds me of Turok 2008. There's just a lot of. It's like the perfect Turok movie.
And there's a little bit of Alien with the design of the spaceships, the spacesuit. And again, just the fact that it is like a man versus creature type of space movie.
Well, it sort of reminds me of like the perfect Jurassic Park movie. Like if it was a good Jurassic Park sequel, not like what we have, mixed with like The Mandalorian, because you have like person who doesn't understand person who's protecting thing and going on a journey.
I was also gonna say
Mando vibes, road trip.
I was also gonna say a lot of Last of Us vibes too, because of the fact that because she's such a young girl, she's a little bit of a smartass, and the two of them, of course, do not get along at the very beginning, but of course have a father-daughter bond. Again, kind of like Last of Us.
Yeah, I mean, but they've been doing this formula for years. It's a road trip movie with people who don't fit, and then they get together.
You don't really look at the details.
But that's probably the strength of the movie. I really love the dinosaurs. I think it's the best dinosaur movie since Jurassic Park, easily. But I think the strength of the movie is their relationship any day. Because it really, the way it develops, and then the way we're just stopping in the middle of the film to have like a comedic bit where they're throwing poison berries at each other, like, that was great. I like that.
The best parts of this movie revolve around Adam Driver and Ariana Greenblatt's chemistry. I had never heard of her before. Apparently she was like young Gamora in Infinity War, that bit where Thanos like shows the knife and says it's all about balance. Apparently
I would have to remember that part.
Apparently that was her underneath the Gamora makeup.
Oh, okay.
So like she has a little bit of experience, and I tried looking her up on IMDb. She's apparently going to be in Barbie this year.
I don't know. I mean, that movie for me is going to be up in the air because it is Greta Gerwig, and she did a really good job with Little Women, and she did a great job with Lady Bird. And I'm sort of intrigued. I mean, you got Margot Robbie in there, and under the right director, you never know.
I'd have to see like more detail to get an idea whether or not I like the movie. Not too much like one of the trailers, which we will talk about afterwards, because there was a lot to talk about.
What trailer? there's
you know which one? The very last one.
Oh yes, I know what you mean.
We'll get to that.
My brain was thinking about that. But I love the way they reveal the dinosaurs in this. I love how we start off with glimpses, just little glimpses of bits and pieces. The way we see one in a swamp and just the edge of one and the snout of one. And then when they get to the end and they're like, now we'll show the dinosaurs. The dinosaurs, like, they're not perfect, but they work really well.
Well, I mean, I gotta be honest, the dinosaur aspect might have been the most disappointing for me. And look, the first 10 minutes or so do not really reflect the rest of the movie because there is a lot of exposition and backstory given to Adam Driver as a character that leads to copious amounts of flashbacks between Chloe Coleman as his daughter, which felt completely pointless for one specific reason. The little girl that's accompanying him the entire time, you don't learn shit about her, and yet she's still a much more interesting character because so much of her is left a mystery. Where she's from, what language does she speak?
So this is a game called Returnal for the PS5, and that's what Adam Driver's suit looks like in space.
That's true.
Returnal is fantastic. That's a PS5 exclusive. I played the hell out of that game.
But like, you give away too much of his backstory, so it's not really that investing. And those flashbacks pretty much say the exact same thing about their relationship.
What they're doing with a lot of the stuff, they're showing you, they're setting up these payoffs for the end. They show you his daughter, they're going to use it at the end. They show you the dinosaur horn with the poison berries, they're going to use it at the end. They're showing you a lot of the things they're basically just setting up. That's what they're doing.
Well, they set up plot details they're not good at setting up scares. A lot of the most frightening moments in the movie are jump scares that just happen completely out of nowhere with no build up whatsoever. The Geyser,
is like, fuck.
The Geyser I'll give a pass, but every time a dinosaur just jumps out with no anticipation whatsoever, it felt like a cheap shot. And yes, A Quiet Place does have jump scares, but they take, at the very least, a minute or two to really flesh out the stakes of the scenario. Who has the upper hand? What could possibly happen should things go wrong?
See,
in this case, these guys are just walking through the middle of the woods, and out of nowhere something jumps out. And if anyone's going to say,
I thought they could have improved.
And if anyone's going to say, well, that's how it would go in real life. This is a movie about a guy who crash lands on Earth in prehistoric times. I don't know if realism was really the intention.
I think the weakest part of the movie is the sound design. Because I think if we had better sound design, better footprints, better sounds of the dinosaurs creeping up on them to create the suspense, I think it solves your entire problem on the jump scares.
It would have created
I think the sound design is the weak point.
It would have created a much better atmosphere, too, because while the cinematography does feature a lot of gorgeous shots, they're clearly on location in these beautiful forests and mountains that just make Pangea look incredible. There's nothing really that specific about their direction. Like, there isn't any particular camera angles that look all that investing. As you said before, the sound design is just very bland.
Yeah.
The musical score is forgettable.
I really like the musical score. I think the opening and end credits has some really great music. And I think the way they use the music in and out, the very minimalistic versions of it, created this sort of playful environment or this tense environment. But I think all we need is more dinosaur sounds. Just really layering in the dinosaurs sneaking up and the sounds of the environment. Because we didn't even hear wind noise or crickets or like the wind rushing through the grass. Like we were just missing like a layer of sound design.
The insects didn't have like specific sounds to the way they crawl or the way they
possibly
infect.
Remember that one bug that gets stuck on his neck?
Yes.
It sounded like Jar Jar Binks' tongue in Phantom Menace trying to get an apple.
This is something I wasn't expecting. There are comedic moments within this film that genuinely do work in ways that I was not expecting.
The rope.
There's a scenario where he gives the girl a rope and tells her to tie it to something. And when we see what she tied it to...
It's great. It's great. Good job.
It was so good. It was so good.
It's nice to have those moments, though. We're building this tension, and we're just breaking the tension with this comedic vibe. And it's not often, but it works well when it does.
And the show don't tell approach makes the comedy feel a lot more genuine because these comedic scenarios we've seen before 1,000 times, where the girl picks up something off the ground, chucks it at the guy out of spite, and then out of nowhere he catches it in midair, and she's just like, "Okay, you know what you're doing. I'll shut up, but I'll also trust you because if you can pick up on what I'm doing, you can pick up on whatever anyone else is doing." In any other movie, it would just be Marvel humor banter back and forth. But because these two are keeping to themselves, their reactions feel a hell of a lot more genuine.
I also like that we don't have a large cast, that we don't have a big dinosaur hunting crew that are out there. I like that we don't have so many characters. It's nice to follow two and really get to know them.
With one exception, this is really just a two-hander. And I can't believe a studio actually signed on where there's literally only one major star out of these two, and the other one is this up-and-comer. But
I'm fine with that.
I guess Sam Raimi really does trust his filmmakers to tell a good story, and... makes me wish that he would back more, or would get the chance to back more filmmakers.
Well, maybe. Who put this out?
His studio did. Because it was Sony. And, like, Raimi's done half his career with Sony. So I guess he has a little bit of carte
here's
blanche.
my theory.
Okay.
Here's my theory. Raimi directed Spider-Man. So he definitely produced the new Spider-Man movie. So maybe he cut a deal with Sony to distribute this smaller movie if he produced Spider-Man.
Which he does a fair bit. Like, because Sam Raimi's a much more prolific producer at this point as opposed to director. Like, it gets his bills paying with stuff like Don't Breathe or the Evil Dead reboots and stuff.
And then he also did Doctor Strange, so maybe he did these big superhero movies to get the small one out.
And I guess because Sony and Marvel kind of have to share some things, maybe that got his foot in the door. Or it's just because the guy who directed the Spider-Man movies that got comic book movies like on the map wanted to make a Doctor Strange movie. I mean, he literally said it in Spider-Man 2. What should we call this guy? Dr. Octopus. Nah, that's crap. Doctor Strange. That's a good one. but it's taken.
I have mixed feelings on that movie, but I'm sure we'll talk about that one day.
Eventually. I mean, it's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Lots of great sequences, mess story.
Yeah, but I mean, that's almost every Sam Raimi movie ever.
I don't know. Evil Dead is great. I like how self-contained that is. I will defend Evil Dead 2 very highly.
Well, there's a lot to defend. The story and the dialogue is by no means.
And it trims up from the first Evil Dead, and it's funny, and it's self-contained, and it's like bad guys.
Okay, if we're starting at Evil Dead 2, then yes.
Yes.
But it didn't. It started off with The Evil Dead.
Yeah.
The Evil Dead, while it's still an enjoyable movie, is incredibly dated.
Evil Dead 2 is better.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be nuts to say otherwise.
It cleans up all the elements and gets straight to the action. And that's one thing this movie did. Like, they're like, okay, you got 10 minutes of back dialogue. All right, go.
Yeah,
I like that.
The first 10 minutes are incredibly fast-paced, feature a lot more backstory. They leave a lot of stuff for later on to be explained that on the surface level feels utterly ridiculous, because when this spaceship crash lands, I'm not even kidding, he was asleep before it happened. And they give an explanation 5 minutes later to justify it, but they really should have given that justification before all this happened. Then it would at least make sense.
He was awake when the ship was going down.
No, he woke up after the asteroid hit him.
Maybe it was on autopilot, I don't know.
Which, yeah, I guess. But I mean, when you put those images together, it just feels weird. That's just my interpretation of it. But,
did you see the visuals at the beginning of the film? That was like a Halo spaceship. That's what the Halo TV show sort of looked like for the spaceships. That's so good.
I forgot Halo even was.
I watched that series recently. Meh.
Said everyone ever, apparently. From what I understand.
Yeah,
But yeah, like the dinosaur aspects, not only did the scares between that feel cheap, and there are some moments that do feel legitimately terrifying, but most of it has to revolve around body horror, the way that someone either gets wounded or an insect tries to infect them. Like, those body horror elements are pretty creative, and they had my jaw open the entire time. But when it came to the dinosaur attacks, I was never scared for these characters, even though I liked them. And I think it's just because there's only so many times where you can see Adam Driver pick up a gun and shoot at them. And, like, when the girl has to get involved, it gets a lot more creative because there are traps involved. There are, like, actual homemade weapons. That's the kind of stuff I wanted out of Adam Driver's character, because on the poster, it's him with a gun in the middle of the woods, and you kind of see a dinosaur or two in the background. So you expect him to be, at the very least, a capable warrior, which he is not a capable warrior. They make a 9-year-old look more badass.
He shot the dinosaurs all right.
For the first half or so. But again, like, there's only so many times where you can just see him do the exact same moves over and over again.
Well, see, what I like about the dinosaurs is we don't really get a big dinosaur fight. They sneak past most of the dinosaurs until, like, probably middle way of the movie. We get a cool dinosaur sequence, and then we get to involve the girl. But then we get to the end, and there's like, look, there's a giant monster dinosaur thing. And then there's another giant monster dinosaur thing. And they defeat those giant monster dinosaur things. But guess what? There's another one. And I'm like, yeah, I want more monsters.
I could hear, when he gets excited, he literally just goes, he does that exact same laugh right there.
Like, yes, give me the freaking dinosaur.
For sure. And I will say, it is absolutely true. Like, the dinosaurs start off small and literally get bigger in scope and capability of what a carnivore it is. I'm kind of surprised there are no scenes where they look at a herbivore dinosaur and mistake it for a predator, or if they discover that it's friendly and they try to ride on it. Like, wouldn't that have been cool?
I mean, they did save one, but then it got eaten right away. And that was pretty awesome. I'm down with that.
You remember that bit in Madagascar where they try to save, like, a little bird from getting eaten? They run to the river, they put it in the water, and then literally an alligator just eats the bird alive, and Marty's just like... Meanwhile, What a Wonderful World is playing in the background that just made it so fucking morbid.
I mean, there was something about having the main villain be this T-Rex they encountered before, like, villain. And he comes back and he's got the eye scar. And that's what they were trying to do in Jurassic World, but I just didn't care about that movie.
Speaking of Does this movie rip off a couple shots from Jurassic Park, the original?
100%.
Yep.
100%.
They literally do the T-Rex eye in the background.
This is an homage to every dinosaur movie ever, but it's probably one of the best dinosaur movies in a long, long time besides Jurassic Park.
Which, for me, isn't that high of a bar.
But
just given the nature of quality and the fact that most dinosaur movies are nowhere
this
near
is better
as
than
imaginative.
every Jurassic Park sequel ever.
No, like, this is considerably more imaginative, and that's
Yeah.
what I think makes Beck and Woods such great writers. And, I mean, you gotta definitely look at the parallels between this and A Quiet Place, how there's little dialogue. In this case, it's because it's a form of communication most people aren't adjusted to, whereas in 65, they literally have no option but to, like, invent different ways to communicate. And they come up with quite a few ways where they get chalk drawings or to mime things out, or the casual cliched way of just reciting each other's words over and over to, like, get a grasp of each other. But they come up with so many clever ways to make the fish out of water scenario feel a lot more authentic and definitely much more heartfelt too. Probably my favorite moment is where, as he's climbing the tree to get a view of their escape vessel, she finds that flower and, without even hesitating, puts it in her hair. And that just felt like such a beautiful moment where, at the very least, even in their situation, they can appreciate the beauty of their surroundings and wish that it wasn't trying to kill them every other 5 seconds.
Yeah, I like how she tries to put the flower in his hair.
Which was definitely genuine. I mean, I was expecting her to be the cliched feisty girl that doesn't trust him until she almost dies. But here she can at least pick up quickly that he's the only resource that she has.
There was a lot of nice, tender moments. There was some good stuff in there. I like this movie. You should watch it. It's a very good movie. It's my favorite movie this year so far.
You should definitely check it out once. Like, I feel like I might have to check it twice just to see if I'm nitpicking the dinosaur aspects. I'm not really sure.
I love this movie. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars on Rotten Tomatoes. The sound design is my only downfall, and some of the things are too convenient. Like, it is really good. Like, it's better than most films I've watched in a long, long, long time. It's really great.
I don't quite echo that sentiment, and I wish I had a lot more things to say, although... Have I had a lot of things to say in this?
Like, I was so excited. I wanted to stand up and clap, but no one else was doing it. Because I was like, this is genuinely a movie made for me.
The couple in front of us, you could definitely hear them gasp whenever, like, something
Oh, yeah, when the
happened.
bugs got on his hand, they're like...
I thought everybody in the theater did that, but I think it was just that
I didn't.
couple.
The bugs was like, bugs.
Then again, that couple thought the trailer for No Hard Feelings was funny, which...
Oh, no! I don't want to watch it! Let's not talk about that one. Let's move on.
Josh is just trying to avoid his wife holding him at gunpoint to go see it.
I fear that she will want to watch that movie, yes.
I can't picture her doing that. That just seems too dumb.
We went and saw I Feel Pretty, so don't put anything past her. Yep. What trailer gave away too much? I was curious.
Well, again, No Hard Feelings, because, I mean, you literally said out loud...
It gave all the jokes away. Also, like, Jennifer Lawrence, like, did she age 20 years? Like, what happened?
She kind of looks old enough to be Amy Schumer at this point.
Yeah.
With that tan and, like, is it just me, or does she have more of, like, ash blonde
I think
hair?
she got, like, a really bad spray tan, and they're like, put her in the movie. Done. What about the spray tan? Don't worry about it.
Or the spray tan was in her contract to look that
You gotta have a spray tan. You gotta be old.
I'm not entirely sure.
You know, once they ever age us, they're just gonna spray tan us.
I have to ask, though, like, was there a plot in that trailer? Because all I got was her trying to...
It reminds me of, like, Pineapple Express, but, like, trying to be modern day with taking out all the dirty humor, and it's just like, no, it's not gonna work.
Folks, the closest thing I can get to a plot for this movie is that Jennifer Lawrence is literally hired by Ferris Bueller to seduct his son and make him social... and make him a grown, independent man.
But as I said to you, if they had flipped this, well, how would that go?
It would have to be a Daily Wire movie in order for that to get anywhere, let alone in theaters, because, I mean, yeah, this is ungodly predatory, and I don't care if she's a woman. She's still a predator for kind of doing
But I
all
mean,
this shit.
at least we didn't get a Mummies trailer. I'm so glad. Just saying, don't go see Mummies, y'all. Don't go pay for second-rate kid
No one's
animation.
forcing. No one's
Don't
getting
go
forced
watch
to
it.
watch the Mummies movie or even the trailer.
Movie's gonna bomb hard. It'll be like the Missing Links from 2011. Y'all saw that thing, didn't you? I did. I regret that decision.
I've already forgotten what the Brave Beluga was called. Katak.
Beluga.
It was literally called that,
What,
man.
Free Willy 5? Freest Willy of all.
No, it's literally a racism metaphor, but for belugas.
Isn't
because
that Avatar?
That too.
Okay. The one
Like, say
trailer...
what you will
yeah.
about the Nike biopic, which
I don't know.
the fact that we needed a biopic about Nike and the Air Jordan specifically, that's really saying something.
Well, it's Ben
but-
Affleck, and he's either the best director or the worst director on the planet, so we don't know what we're going to get. But it's got a decent cast. I mean, I'll give it a shot.
Directing wise, like, he's become a lot smaller in scope ever since he just went way too far with Live by Night. Because
I love Live by Night. I love that movie. I just don't like Gone Girl. I'm the complete opposite of everyone on the planet.
Well, first of all, you're wrong about Gone Girl. Second of all, he didn't even direct that. That was Fincher.
Oh, what did he direct then? What was the one he did?
Okay, so he started off with Gone Baby Gone, which great
That's the one I
great
don't like.
detective thriller. The Town, which
The Town I liked. I really liked The Town. That was
it rips off Heat, but I don't
majorly.
care. I genuinely don't care. In fact, there are parts I like better than Heat in The Town. But okay, there's two of those. Argo, fuck yourself.
I haven't seen Argo. I haven't got.
Argo was great.
Yeah,
It was
I
a
just
true
thought on my
life
list.
story that was like a genuine thriller and actually a dark comedy. Like
It's like they're trying to save people and they're like making a fake movie crew or something.
Exactly. Alan Arkin and John Goodman as the filmmakers, hilarious. Work perfectly together. In
What's
fact,
that one he did? Did he direct The Way Back? The basketball one? I really like that one.
No, but I'd say a good chunk of his personal life about like rehabilitating from alcoholism.
that's a good movie.
Probably went into that. Yeah, The Way
I
Back.
saw Live by Night 3 times in theaters.
Of course you did. The Way
I
Back.
really liked it.
Well, The Way Back was almost the last movie I saw before the pandemic started, but it was actually Clifton Hill. Because in Clifton Hill,
I love that movie.
Yeah, it was a great movie.
Super underrated. Like,
Absolutely.
super underrated. Did we put it on our, like, best of 2019 or something? 'Cause
It
that
was on. It's in my best of the year like montage.
Yeah. It's
Like
great.
you put it in your top 10. It wasn't
I
top
liked
10
it.
level for me, but it was still like one of the better Canadian movies I've ever
David
seen.
Fincher was in it, too. He was
Cronenberg.
He had the metal detector on the beach, and he's like, I'm a podcast host.
And weirdly enough, he hasn't shown up in his son's movies yet, even though I like his son's movies more than his movies. Sacrilegious as that may sound, I do like Possessor.
You don't like The Fly? I really
I-
like The Fly.
The Fly's a little overbearing for me.
Like,
although
Scanners is alright, and I love The Fly.
Dead Zone I find incredibly overrated.
Is that the one with the two guys who are like brothers and they're genealogists?
No. That's Dead Ringers.
Oh, that's a bad movie. I got bored and took a nap.
Dead Zone is Christopher Walken, like,
Okay.
having visions of the future.
Huh. Alright. Well, I mean,
Which
we have...
our generation has that. It's called That's So Raven.
Well,
But
have you seen his review for Infinity Pool? Because you should check it out.
please do.
It's on the channel. Really glad I got to see that, because a lot of people are asking to see it, and no one can find it. Pity. Bring it back to theaters, y'all.
Your Feeder had it for like a week or so.
Yeah.
And
Just
it was
didn't
like,
get a long run. That's the problem. It needed a longer run.
everything needs a longer run at this point.
Well, I don't even know how long 65 is going to be in theaters, because we had 7 people on our screening, including us. So, like, this movie's not doing well. Like,
And it's not being marketed.
I think
which I genuinely don't understand.
I think
Movies-
the Dungeons and Dragons and John Wick 4 is going to wipe it out immediately.
Yeah, because for whatever reason, that has the advertising. I mean, with John Wick, they don't have to advertise this much.
Oh
because...
my goodness! I didn't even watch that trailer, but I can just imagine. I've only
And
seen
that's
the
the
first
thing, like,
trailer.
that's-
That's the one I want.
that's-
Freaking Donnie Yen, it's Ip Man versus John Wick. Give it to me now.
There's a detail I want to tell you about Donnie Yen's character that I do know.
I don't want to know anything.
Fuck.
I just want to go watch Donnie
wanna
Yen
say it-
fight.
I just want to say it out loud because that one trait about Donnie Yen makes it all the more awesome.
Okay, well, as long as it doesn't like spoil the movie too much.
It might spoil how he's such a badass.
Oh, what did he do? Is he Superman?
Remember him in Rogue One?
Yes, I am one with the Force. The movie is supported on my back.
Well, he's another blind martial artist because Blind martial artists are really fucking
Now,
cool.
fight on a table to get your karate school into happening. Have you seen all the Ip Man movies? Freaking love those things. They're great. He fights on a table in number 2, and he has to fight all the masters just to get there. But the table can't tip, and it's unbalanced, and he's just like...
Well, here's the thing. Like, the other
Coolest.
trailers for John Wick haven't done anything for me, but the second that they did the dog stunt that you didn't look at, or people, like, getting annihilated on the street, I just sat there and went, why didn't you show this in the other trailer?
Well,
I would have gotten more excited.
John Wick 3. I think John Wick 1 is the best. Then I like 2 and then 3, but I don't know where 4 is going to fit.
3 is my favorite.
I like a lot of 3, but I think it's a little long.
Well, brace yourself for this. John Wick 4 is 2 hours and 49 minutes.
Yeah, I saw that as long.
But I mean, I'm there.
I'm going to go watch it. I'm taking my dad.
I gotta assemble like some coworkers of mine to go check that out. But
oh my goodness, me and my dad love Donnie Yen so much. It's like everything Donnie Yen is in. We saw Triple X.
Your dad likes Donnie Yen?
Triple X: Return of Xander Cage. We went and saw it because he was in it. The movie was bad except for him.
Well, I mean,
every Donnie Yen movie in the last 10 years.
Donnie Yen couldn't make Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon too good.
Let's put it this way. Remember that worst theater experience? We drove to Toronto to see Ip Man 4 because that's how much we love Donnie Yen.
Oh, you've told me that story a fair bit.
Yeah, like anything he's in, we'll pretty much watch. We've watched the Ip Man series. We've watched the Young Ip Man movies. We've watched everything in that franchise. We really like Donnie Yen.
What does he think about Iron Monkey?
Oh, we've seen it. We saw it in theaters.
Really?
Yeah, I went to Toronto.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
We've seen a lot.
You gotta hit me up when one of these
Oh
things
my goodness,
happens.
we only go when there's Donnie Yen movies because we have to see them. My dad watch a lot of martial arts. Like we're Chow Yun Fat, we're Donnie Yen, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, all that sort of stuff. Like if it's a martial arts movie where they're fighting and they played it on Spike when I was a kid, and he was watching TV, we probably watched it. And then we watched all the ones in theaters, and he was like, we gotta go see that one. We've watched just random foreign movies because they said Kung Fu on them.
That works.
We saw The Monkey King 2. It's great. It's dumb. I just remember the fights were awesome, and it was like legendary scale, and they're trying to defend the Earth. I don't remember the plot too much, but it was pretty great Kung Fu.
But yeah, like at least I've got John Wick to look forward to for this month.
Well, Dungeons and Dragons looks fun. I don't think it's going to be great, but I think it'll be fun. I think it'd be better than Ant-Man and Wasp.
Not by much, which that's not even a big feat. I'm also considering making a video explaining why I want to boycott Peter Pan and Wendy and the Little Mermaid.
Oh, I didn't even know they're making a Peter Pan and Wendy movie.
Yep, Peter Pan and Wendy is the end of next month.
Okay,
let's put it this way.
Here.
Let's put it this way. The thumbs up down ratio on YouTube is at 10%, and all the comments are turned off.
Help me out here. Why are we consistently pushing the narrative? If you're a foreigner that don't talk, you will get the guy. Because the guy is going to look at your outside beauty and not not how you talk, act, and live. Why are we pushing that on little girls? Why is that the moral of Little Mermaid? That's what it's always been. It's like, if you shut the fuck up, you might get a husband.
Okay, that's not what they're saying.
I wish they would just do the original ending where the Little Mermaid fucking dies. That's what I want. I want the whole
It's Disney. You know they're not going to do that.
Yeah, but Disney needs to have more death.
You want more death? Watch The Little Match Girl and tell me how pleasant that is.
Oh, I mean, I just watched Game of Thrones, really. Everyone dies.
Unbelievable. I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, they're definitely gonna sanitize the hell out of Ariel anyways and make her a more progressive character. And I'm willing to bet there's gonna be something about polluting the ocean.
Above or below 50% that we get a song of "I'm an independent mermaid," and then nothing happens, and they go back to the story.
Somewhere between Sebastian apparently rapping.
See, that's like one of
No.
No, it's like when I'm watching the new Aladdin remake, like I didn't like it very much, but I thought most of it was fine. But then she's like, "I'm an independent woman," and then she goes back to not doing anything about the song she just sang, and I was like, "What is the point?"
Empowerment.
I just want Jerry Seinfeld to be like, "What's the deal with the real Aladdin remake?"
Like he would say that.
I don't know. You know, if they were making Seinfeld in this day and age, which I hope they don't.
The depressing thing about Peter Pan and Wendy is that it was remade by the guy who made Green Knight.
I like Green Knight.
Yeah, exactly. What is he doing with this?
Hey, it'd be better than Wendy. Remember that piece of shit?
You know what? A part of me wonders if this might actually be worse than Wendy.
Oh my goodness, Wendy is so unwatchable.
It's fucking boring.
Nothing happens.
There's no magic.
No.
He can't fly. There's no Tinkerbell. Hook is not even Hook.
Now, do you think Peter and Wendy would be better than Pan or not? Smells like Teen Spirit. I'm Hugh Jackman.
See, I didn't even watch Pan for that specific
I got about
reason.
45 minutes into it. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Fast forward to the end.
Look, Wendy completely disrespected the original Peter Pan story, and that was probably the worst aspect.
Why don't they just remake the Black Cauldron? Like, make a live-action version of that. Like a super
Yeah,
dark
exactly.
fantasy version of the Black Cauldron.
Hell, the guy who made Green Knight remade Pete's Dragon and turned it into something good.
Yeah, I was okay with it. The dragon was pretty cool, though.
Look,
and
the
kid
remake,
was all right.
the remake isn't anything special, but it is better than the original.
The original's pretty bad. I'll give you that.
That's like second worst Disney, like next to Black Cauldron. I would rather watch Home on the Range than Pete's Dragon.
You don't like the Black Cauldron?
It's
I
awful.
love the Black Cauldron.
Then why did you just say they should remake it?
Because I think it'd make a good live-action movie, because you could go super dark, and you could put Tim Burton in there, and it would work.
Can they stab Gurgi through the heart and like never have him come back to life?
Oh, we're just waiting for Fantasia 3000 or whatever the next one is.
That'd be great if that would actually happen, but it won't.
Maybe they'll make a DuckTales movie. Who knows?
They tried that already back in the 90s.
Yeah, they'll bring back the cast from the show you like.
I mean, the one girl on my right arm, I would love if she got her own, like, mini-series at the very least. Or hell, some shorts of her, like, going all Wolverine rage on the Beagle Boys or something like that.
I mean, if they can give Lisa Simpson, or Maggie Simpson, a short on Disney Plus, I'm sure they can fulfill your
Yeah, but people
your
don't
goal.
watch those, which genuinely makes me wonder what the point of that even was.
Publicity. They want you to know they have The Simpsons.
Yeah, but I mean, Disney Plus has also lost, like, millions of subscribers lately.
What are you going to watch on there, though? Unless you're, a hardcore Disney fan, what are you watching?
Well, that's the thing. The novelty of me trying to get that app in the first place was just to have my childhood VHS collection and all the ones that I had to watch only at my grandma's or at a neighbor's or never got at all. Because I mean, I never had Hunchback growing up.
Oh, okay.
Oliver and Company I watched once at a babysitter's house.
I love that. Oliver and Company might be one of my favorite animated Disney movies besides Robin Hood, but we've discussed that.
That would make sense.
I love Oliver and
Company.
Company. Freaking Billy Joel and Huey Lewis in the news in the same movie. Come
Yeah,
on,
but
give me that.
Huey Lewis didn't get that good a song though.
I know, but he's still in it. I mean, what else other animation voice work has Huey Lewis done? None. And it's better than All Dogs Go to Heaven because it's not sad.
I didn't grow up with All Dogs, so I couldn't really tell you.
Sad. I watched it as a kid,
it's
and
Don Bluth.
Yeah, I mean, the Rats of Nim at least was happier.
Secret of Nim did have a happy ending.
Or even Five Goes West or American Tail. Those are at least happier movies. It's
and he also made Land Before Time.
Oh, I love Land Before Time.
Which
It's not just not pricey.
Yeah, I gave up after the mom died.
I really like Land Before Time. It was pretty fun. I watched it as a kid. I was more into Don Bluth than Disney as a kid. I watched a lot of those movies.
Yeah, but my babysitter either rented or had literally every Disney VHS that was animated. So I remember watching Melody Time or Mary Poppins just because there was an animated bit in it. And
We
I
owned
remember
Mary Poppins.
Well, yeah, you gave me the VHS.
Yeah, no, we owned that as a kid. My mom had a copy. She really liked Mary Poppins.
But yeah, shit, what I was thinking. I only saw Hunchback once growing up as a kid at a sitter's. I don't think that sitter even rented me Mulan because I don't remember seeing
Mulan
that.
I watched as a kid a bunch. That was the one Disney movie I liked, the Talking Dragon.
I thought it was okay.
I had a lot of fun with that one.
Eddie Murphy's just really hit and miss with me because
I'm a flying talking donkey. I like Shrek better.
Yeah, which that's the thing. Mushu was kind of donkey before donkey.
I mean, I think Mulan's one of the better ones.
It's all right. I mean, ever since people have been talking about the remake, I think I might have been a little harsh. But
The remake should have been good with Donnie Yen, but Donnie Yen was not good in the remake.
And Jet Li was dubbed for some reason. That made no sense.
You got an amazing cast with a bad script.
And that guy from Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book, Jason Scott Lee.
See, now that's a remake I didn't mind, is The Jungle Book. That was the least offensive of the ones.
We're talking about the Favreau one, right?
Yeah, that one was the least offensive of the remakes of anything Disney. I was like, yeah, I'm fine with this.
See, that remake of Jungle Book reminds me of why I'm despising the existence of Little Mermaid. The only thing in The Little Mermaid to fix is the Little Mermaid herself. But literally everything else about it, the side characters, Sebastian Flounder, the villain with Ursula, the beautiful
the talking
animation.
seagull is dope.
Buddy Hackett
I like that guy.
Buddy Hackett as the seagull.
Yeah, he's from the Herbie movies. And I love the Herbie movies.
And I think he was in Babes in Toyland or something like that.
I love Babes in Toyland. Oh my goodness, I watch that every Christmas.
But like everything surrounding The Little Mermaid, and especially the songs and music from Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, all of that stuff was so perfect that it didn't matter that Ariel was a blank slate. It was kind of like Lion King. Simba's the worst part of The Lion King, but everything else about it is just so damn good and too much to pass up. But then you have the Jungle Book remake, which does kind of the exact same thing. Take the one part that sucked about the Jungle Book, Mowgli, and make him a much better character, which he absolutely was.
And then you get Bill Murray to be Baloo, and I'm not down with that. That's the part I didn't
That
like.
part I was actually cool with.
It was okay.
He could have been given better jokes, and like Ben Kingsley's a little too stuffy as he wasn't
As the giant ape
as
thing, right?
Bagheera. No, Christopher Walken was King Louie.
And then Scarlett Johansson
not
is the
work.
snake. I thought that was probably one of the best voices in the whole film.
She was perfect.
Great snake. She got under your skin, per se.
Yeah, and Idris Elba was pretty good as Shere Khan. Like, he had a different interpretation. Like, George Sanders was more sophisticated, and Idris was just much more... He was just much more of, like, an animal. So he was more intimidating. And he also had Giancarlo Esposito for a little bit as the head wolf.
Yeah.
Because it was him and Lupita Nyong'o. John Favreau getting all of his favors.
Yeah, I don't know. Jon Favreau's hit and miss for me. Like, Iron Man, good. Chef, good. You know, other things, meh.
But yeah, like, because he was the only thing to improve upon, and everything that was so good before just... Even when it was still good, had a bit of a downgrade. It does feel like a lesser product over time. And that's what's going to happen with this one. Like, she's going to go from a flawed character with no arc to a flawless character with no arc, and you just had to make the stunt of casting Halle Bailey and kind of sort of ruining her life with the social media attention that this is
I
getting.
really didn't have an opinion on the casting, but I thought they cast Halle Berry. And I was like, isn't she a little old to play the mermaid?
And then he had to realize it wasn't a typo.
Yeah, no, I was like, who is this person? I have no clue who this person is.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it doesn't matter what actress they hired, the exact same response would have occurred. So, like, it's nothing on her. It's everything on Disney and the people who are not representing the majority of us all that well.
I don't know. Disney, I don't care about Disney anymore.
Yeah, I know. I do, because I grew up with it. I appreciate it. I have it tattooed in my skin.
Yeah, I like older Disney movies.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But you know what? For a remake of Jurassic Park style things, 65 did pretty good.
Oh yeah, we were talking about
Tie
65.
it all back. I like 65 a lot.
It was a decent movie. I felt like it could have gotten it could have done so much more with its concept, but what it does, it takes familiar ingredients and executes it in a much fresh and original way. So I'd give it a 3 out of 5 personally.
I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. Done. This is amazing. This is incredible. It's a theater experience for sure. If you watch it at home, you're not going to appreciate it. It's definitely,
Probably
you want the
not.
big speakers.
Yeah.
You want the tension on the edge of your seat. Our audience was very good and was very quiet. Appreciate you. Thank you, 5 people in the theater. This is a theater experience that's very tense. Just improve the sound design, and I'm good.
Sound design would have made it tense to begin with, but
Yeah, just more sound design.
thank you guys for sticking through with this. Look forward to my actual recreation / review of 65.
Oh, yes.
I'm curious what I'm actually going to do in order to pull that off, but just you wait.
You can play a really slow, creepy version of Eiffel 65. I'm blue, da da dee da.
I mean, you gave me the drum set. I could probably do that.
That's just a practice, Pat. But
Be sure to check out Josh's channel. We recently
link in the description.
We recently did an episode about our top 6 favorite movie trailers, so you can look forward to that. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out for future reviews from the two of us. Have a good day. Take care.
Rock and roll.
I'm going to drink a glass of water because my mouth feels so dry and my throat is just...